Hello, everyone. I'm Brainerd Carey. I'm the director of Praxis Center for Aesthetics, and I've also written 6 books for artists on development of your career, from making it in the art world to the most recent one about social media. So today I want to talk about scams for artists. Some of you may know some of these already, but there's a lot of scams out there that take advantage of people in a variety of ways. And there are scams that are designed specifically for artists. I have a website that's free, and it's called howsmydealing.com. On that website, you'll find lots of other artists who are sharing information about scams that they have encountered. And they're everything from residencies to mail scams to art fair scams to biennial scams to gallery scams. It's filled with all user submitted information. But let me just tell you about a few of them, because there are scams out there and it's important to be aware of them. There's one common one where someone writes to you and says, hey, I love your work. My wife saw it and I'd like to purchase it. And it all sounds good. And then they're in a little bit of a rush. They need it soon. They're willing to pay you extra than what you asked for. And then what happens is they have their own shipping company that comes and picks it up. And when the money comes through, it's quickly reversed. It goes back. So there's a couple of ways this happens, because what it looks like is you're actually getting the money. You see money coming into your account, and that money is, let's say, $2,000, and you think, wow, there it is. It's in PayPal or it's in my bank account, $2,000. I'll let this painting go. But what happens is, in some of those cases, is they're using stolen credit cards. So if you're using stolen credit cards or credit card numbers, purchases will initially go through and money will be transferred. But then, as soon as they realize that they're stolen credit cards, the money is reversed. So this is not uncommon, and you have to beware of this. And it's tricky because it's real money that goes into your account. I would wait in all cases. If someone's sending you money, say, I'm going to wait 14 days or 30 days and then ship your painting. You want to call your bank to make sure, is this okay? If you've never heard of the person before and don't know anything about it. Okay, so now there's other scams. There's also scams of artist residencies, where they look good, an artist residency in India and Scotland and all over the place. And what happens is you go to the residency and it's just kind of a glorified Airbnb. There may be a studio, there may not be, or it's a group studio, and you're not getting anything else there. There aren't curators coming through. There's not really an atmosphere of collaboration. It's really just a kind of expensive B&B. So, that's harder to see sometimes. So one of the ways to know is, when you're applying to a residency, be sure to notice that, is there curators coming through? What kind of curators? What other panel programs do they have there? Is there activities planned for artists that are about meeting other curators and people? And if there aren't, don't go to that residency, especially if it costs money. Another way to find out is look at people who've been to that residency before and reach out to them and ask how it was. You can also check howsmydealing.com. Again, it's my website that's free. It's all user submitted information. Tons of people are talking in there about scams that they've experienced, including pay-to-play galleries, including people reaching out to you on Instagram and saying, we'd like you to be in our show, and it costs this much to enter the show. It costs this much for our magazine. They're all pay-to-play opportunities, but they prey on the artist's sense of wanting some approval. So initially, they write to you, whether it's on Instagram or somewhere else, saying, "Hey, we love your work. It's great." You'll see there's one that's constantly doing that on Instagram that everyone keeps writing about on howsmydealing.com. I think it was 1340 magazine, something like that. but there's all kinds of things and ways that people take advantage of artists. So just something to be aware of. In my videos and of course in my classroom, Praxis Center for Aesthetics.com, I'm talking about generally tools for artists to build their careers. But scams are, of course, enormously important because there's more and more of them out there. Art fairs are another, and even biennials are another. There are art fairs that cost a good amount of money to get into, but they'll give you figures like, we have 100,000 coming in a day, and it's a super successful fair. And what you'll find if you go to some of these fairs is that they're really substandard. Yes, they may be in Miami during Basel, but they may be in the lobby of a hotel where they don't even have proper walls to hang your work on. There's curtains and tables. I mean, I've heard of and experienced situations like this. There's also fairs that, yeah, maybe you get a proper booth that you're sharing with one or two artists. But the problem is, the traffic isn't enough there. The work doesn't sell itself. If you're going to be at a fair and pay a lot, you'll see in almost all instances, you have to be pretty aggressive about selling that work. So fairs also promise a lot, cost thousands, and often end up not being helpful. If you're going to something like the Affordable Art Fair and you're going with two artists that have sold work before and you're all going to split a booth, okay, but generally, a lot of the come-ons for fairs, raw artists, others, you'll see them categorized in howsmydealing.com. A lot of those are really just, again, pay-to-play opportunities. Same with galleries that are charging you to be in there, that are charging you by the piece on the wall or charging you for a certain amount of time. Those are also, pay-to-play and scam opportunities. The last one that I'll mention is one, unfortunately, that an awful lot of people fall for. It's the Florence Biennial, a biennial that sounds good, that even has a section where some great artists are showing that are invited, claims to be sanctioned by the state, the city of Florence, Italy. And maybe it is, but what's happening there is artists are always charged a fortune. You have to send your work there, bring it back. If you're a painter or have any kind of work of any size, shipping to and from Italy costs a fortune. There's always added expenses, and it ends up costing thousands of dollars. There are also opportunities at the Venice Biennial that are like that. Again, it's not actually the official Venice Biennial, but it's at the same time that takes place. There are people that rent, again, some kind of exhibition hall, and to make it feel very legitimate, there's a few artists in there that are artists that you've heard of, but the rest of the section, which is a separate section, is artists who paid thousands and thousands of dollars to be part of the Venice Biennial. Please beware of these things. And if you have experienced some of these, whether they're mail scams, gallery scams, magazine scams, residency scams, biennial art fairs, any of these things, please consider starting a post on howsmydealing.com. Again, that is a website that is designed just to serve artists so that they can look up scams that they may be curious about, ask other people, or post your own. I'll put a link there to that in this below the video today. And that's all. So for those of you who are listening, thanks for being artists. As you know, my passion is the education of artists. I think artists change the world, right? Because who else is going to do it? Art is a form of resistance, I believe. Making beautiful things, is something that allows us all to live a more perhaps peaceful and beautiful life, whether the work is dark, disturbing, or light and full of life. Either way, the creative act is a redemptive one. It's one that encourages everyone to do what they love. So thank you all for being artists. Thanks for listening today. There's also links on my other videos to joining Praxis Center if you're interested in more support for your work and joining a community of artists. So thank you, I hope you'll check out howsmydealing.com. Add to it if you have experiences of your own. You may see that, oh, yeah, this magazine contacted me too. Then just add another comment in that thread because you'll see probably things on there that you recognize. So thank you again. I wish you all a wonderful day in your studio or wherever you are.